I had a lot of people ask me why you should buy real Glock magazines and not any of the knockoffs. I don't work for Glock or anybody, so just, right here I have a fully loaded 33 round Glock magazine. You can see the logo right there. And I also have just another 33 round from another competitor, and it doesn't matter in this case, just any third party magazines. For the most part, they're not quite as good. So what I'm going to do, I have these both loaded up to 33 rounds, and I'm just going to start feeding them out just like a gun would as well. You can kind of see, well, we're kind of just losing rounds. It's actually really funny to even compare these. A little bit better. Oh, but there we just fed like 3 or 4 rounds. And then at the end, it's not terrible. But now let's look at the Glock magazine here, where every single round feeds perfectly. No issues at all, really. The only time when you're seeing a couple rounds come out here, and this might be biased for the other one, is just because the back of my thumb hit it. But we did see in cases where there were 3 or more rounds missing. So one thing to point out here, the Glock magazine here is on top, and these walls on this third-party magazine, they actually flex as you load them. The Glock magazine, I'm sure, flexes as well, but it is much more rigid than the third party, for example. Yeah. Anyway, also if you look here, these are the same capacity magazines. The third party in this case is probably a centimeter longer, which is interesting. Another thing, when we load up this third party here, it gets very difficult very quickly to actually load. I'm 3 rounds into it, and a lot of the reason this is because if you look here, we can kind of see it now. Our round is not completely secured linearly along the whole of this catch. So I'm going to keep loading this by hand here. It's getting very difficult to throw these rounds in because they don't catch until they're in the back. And you can start to see how we have this wobble here where this magazine is actually deformed. I'm sorry, it's a little out of focus. Let's see. You can see how this has deformed the casing there. So we have 12 rounds in here right now. So let me go ahead, let me just put 12 rounds in. And by the way, with this third party, it's hard to get much more than 12 rounds in there by hand. You have to use, just the cheap loader that comes with any of the Glock pistols. So I'll come in here, and this is much easier to actually load in. The whole magazine is just much higher quality. And the price difference here is maybe $10. It's the best $10 you'll ever spend, because the third-party magazines, they just don't cut it. Let's see, I don't even know. So yeah, I have 15 in there now. I wasn't even really paying attention. Let me see if I can get another 3 in here. 1, 2, 3. And you can just see, like I was mentioning earlier, just the amount of flex here. And I'm not pulling, I'm just pulling this left and right. I'm not pushing it up or down. If you look here, so we have 15 rounds. Let's look at Glocks here. We have 15 rounds in the Glock as well. We don't have any of that movement that we had. The casing of the magazine hasn't deformed. It's pretty amazing, and I should have shown it when I started, but this is just 15 rounds. This is a standard capacity load right now. But even with the 15 rounds from the beginning, again, that first round I kind of just fell out. Like, it took very, very little effort. It's feeding a little better that time. It feeds well towards the end, but then that spring gets really stiff right there at the end. Where the Glock, each time the feed stays the same. Maybe that happens a little more, but anyway, if you haven't purchased these magazines yet, I think you should, because they'll probably be against the law soon. Not really, I don't think I need to go any detail there why. But yeah, that's my review of a Glock versus a non-Glock magazine. And I would buy a lot of the Glock magazines. I just picked up another 15 myself. Yeah, have a good evening. Bye.